Welcome to Morel Dogs, where we talk everything about dogs and morel mushrooms and everything in between. I'm your host, Brian Wilson, and with me today I have
Carter Hart.
Carter Hart.
Your best friend.
No,
We're best friends.
we're coworkers. What are we talking about today?
So today, we're going to talk about how strong dog's nose is and
How strong the dogs, how strong they can smell,
Yeah,
how well they
powerful.
can, yeah,
Yeah.
how well they can smell.
Yeah.
So getting right into that, something that I have found that the scientists report the dog's sense of smell is 10,000 to 100,000 times more acute than humans. The reason for that is the scent receptors that a dog has, and the reason I think they're such a big, 10,000 to 100,000, that's a big span. But I think the reason they did that span is because it goes off the number of scent receptors a dog has. So like an Angus, which is a bulldog, has minimal scent receptors, where my Labradors have a lot more, so they can smell more. So that's the reason for the variety, but it is 10,000 to 100,000 times more acute than humans, which is a lot. And going into that, not all noses are created equal.
right.
So like when you have a short-nosed dog, is it going to smell as well? No, it's not. It's a shorter nose, less scent receptors. Bulldogs, Angus. Which quit picking on Angus, he's a good dog. Like I said, quit picking on Angus, he's a good dog.
He is.
All right, moving forward, you wouldn't want to use a bulldog or a pug to do
Right.
morels. I mean, you could, but to be really effective, it's probably not the best dog for the job. Another thing is not only is their sense of smell, their scent receptors better, more of them, they smell different than us. They don't, like, we smell in, goes past the scent receptors, down a windpipe, and it's done. With a dog, it's different. Now, I have to go to the computer here and read this because memorizing it for me would be impossible. But basically, when a dog sniffs in through its nose, not all of it goes down its windpipe. 12 to 13% of it goes into the olfactory area. So 12 to 13% goes straight in where they can decipher the scent, tell what scent it is. So it just goes straight to the olfactory. There's words for this, I can't pronounce them, just to be honest. But by doing that, they can sense weaker smells a lot better than we can. I don't think we can even fathom how well a dog can smell.
Yeah.
I think it's just, the research I've done, it's crazy how they smell. So moving on, they say dogs have a special smelling organ. I read this and then I thought, okay, I know what this is, because some things I've been told in research is that dogs, whether they're breathing through their mouth or through their nose, they're always smelling. Mm-hmm. A dog cannot not smell. So if you put a pipe in a dog's mouth with scent on it, as it's breathing in, it's getting that scent. So I thought that's what this was going to talk about. It's not. This stuff I'm just learning here about this. There's organs in the top of their mouth where they can detect pheromones, during the mating, when a dog's fearful or distressed. Very interesting. Might do some more research on that. You have anything to add to this, or you just gonna,
A little bit,
you're gonna
yeah.
be the co-host who just sits there and
Just,
chills?
yeah, no.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that they smell differently, like between the left and the right nostril.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So like primarily, they use the right nostril, and then for like familiar or scents they're used to, such as like food and stuff, they use the left.
Oh, I thought it was the other way.
Yeah.
I heard what I heard, and like you are doing more research on that, is basically, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but they sniff in their primary nostril, but at the same time they can exhale out the other nostril. Is it? Yeah. Okay. So it's a left nostril that's like their dominant.
Yeah.
Is that it?
The right is like the primary one.
Oh, the right's the primary.
And then the left is like for memorized scents like food.
Really
Mm-hmm.
interesting.
If this is right.
It's Google. We know it's right. No, I have done a lot of research, and I do know that it is crazy.
Yeah. And they have a remarkable scent memory, which I just learned that they can remember specific scents for like months or even years.
Really.
Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, we are talking about Morel dogs, and that's, they can do months and even years, but that's the reason why I like training at least monthly. If it's just, 20 degrees and snowing outside, I'm going to do a training session in my training room just to keep them up on that scent, just in case. So I know that I think the study is that a dog can smell something up to like 1.6 miles away. Now imagine this. If you could, and I haven't done this personally yet. We keep pushing further. But if you could train a dog to find a morel, or smell morels, get them downwind, and they'd pick up morels a mile away. How effective.
That's insane.
I know we're pushing the limits on this, but for me, on how you train dogs like that, is I think what I talked about in the last podcast, is you just keep extending the distance. So you start out having a dog, the morel 10 foot downwind, and they detect it, and then you do 20 foot, and then 30 foot, and we're getting out to 100 yards where those hit it. But they have to know that they're gonna get rewarded for that they should go to that before they're going to.
Mm.
So because the scent's gonna get weaker. The further away, the weaker the scent.
Yeah.
So when it gets out there, imagine a mile away, which might be a bit extreme, but that scent's gonna be pretty weak. But they can still pick it up.
Mm.
But because it's so weak, the dog doesn't understand that you should go to it. So that has to be like training scenarios to get that done, to be able to make that happen. I would, in my personal opinion, with my experience with taking dogs out for morels, 100 yards, 200 yards is probably the most I want to do.
Yeah.
I don't want to be walking along a field edge and my dog indicate on a morel and we walk a mile to pick one. Because we probably walk by 20, or more in the process. So a couple 100 yards, so that way when you're working downwind of everything, you could cover a lot of property in a lot of time. So 1 to 200 yards would be the max that I would do with my morel dogs. But the thing is that they can do a lot more. And knowing they can do a lot more just shows that what we're trying to teach them is possible. So now it's up to us.
Yeah.
So what we're telling everyone here is the dog can smell. It can do this stuff and more. But now the training's on us and figuring out how to train the dog.
Yeah. It all just kind of depends on the wind too, I believe.
Yeah, the wind. A lot depends on dog sense of smell, the moisture in the air. There's a lot of variables. That 1.6 miles might have been in the perfect smelling environment.
Yeah.
I do know, like when it gets drier out, dogs have a tougher time tracking, compared to wet ground. So another thing is like to get them since if your dog's nose is all dried out, it's going to be tougher. There's a lot of variables that could affect how your dog smells. The wet, damp nose helps collect that scent, basically in capturing those scent particles. You can get really sciencey on the dog's sense of smell, and that's not where we're wanting to go today. We just want to kind of give everyone the idea of how well they can smell. What dog has the most scent? What's called scent gland, scent olfactories.
Yeah.
So what dog has the most?
You ready for this list?
Well, is it right? So Labrador should be at the top, right?
Unless it's both. I will be always number one. But number one is a bloodhound.
Which that's kind of common. I think we've all known that. The arguments that I get from people with bloodhounds is they might have the best sense of smell, but they're not the best working dog, right? So yeah, bloodhound can smell good, and you could use it, but on the working aspect of it, I think we find dogs that have a really good sense of smell that do a lot better job at working and doing the job that you need to do. So what's the second one?
A Basset Hound.
Basset Hound.
Third is a Beagle.
Huh. So I've always said for like tracking when the game, that except for the barking you have to deal with, a beagle would be the best tracking dog. It's smaller, they naturally do it.
Yeah.
They're good at it. It's what they was bred for, so it'd be easier to train them. But of course you have to bark. Beagles like to bark on track. That would be disrupting when you're tracking game. So I can believe the beagles when their sense of smell. I've rabbit hunted behind beagles. I know what a good job they do and how well they smell. But basset hounds? But maybe so. I'm not going to argue that fact. But what we'll say is we'll go back to finding the right breed for the job.
Yeah.
So we're talking about scents and what dog has the best scent. So I'm not liking your answers to your list at all because Labrador's not up there yet. But so they could probably smell better, but they're not the best dog for the job. So what's
Here's
next?
another Basset Hound, actually.
I've trained a couple.
I think she was 15 before she passed.
Really?
Yeah, she was old. She was like blind. She could smell probably. She can see.
Well, that happens when you get old. Can't see, you can't smell.
Well, tell me about it.
What's the next one?
Saint Bernard.
What?
Hmm.
And this is just going off of like the science of how many olfactories, not because is there any, and maybe someone out there could tell me, is there any Saint Bernards that's used for scent work, search and rescue? Maybe there is. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know a lot about that. But once again, probably not the best dog for the job.
But do you think any dog is trainable to do a thing?
To find morels? Yeah, I do. So and that's a good point too, because any dog is trainable. It's not just you got to have the best dog or the best nose. You could take, what we're really talking about is taking your companion animal and being able to take it with you and actively hunt by your side. Even if it doesn't find anything, it's out there, it's still helping, looking. If you do, even a pug or an Angus, a bulldog, they probably would be limited on how far they could walk. But, well, the short nose, not be able to breathe type stuff, get wore out. But we could probably teach him to indicate on him and find him.
Yeah.
Just
50 yards away or something.
yeah, maybe 10. But he wouldn't be able to travel on his nose. So he wouldn't be the best dog. He might be one of the worst dogs for the job, but he could do it.
Yeah.
And if that's what you had and that's what you wanted to train, then do it. I think
Overall,
it's
it just
great.
comes about the bond. And
Yes, then in my opinion, that's it. Get the bond with the dog. It's about, finding morels is cool and fun, and I enjoy doing it with my dogs. But I create a stronger bond. We get to go out more together. It's a great thing. So if you have Saint Bernard or, all these dogs will work. Any dog will work. Some are just going to be better than others, and that's kind of what we're pointing out here. We're not saying they can't do it. It's just which ones are the best.
yeah.
And that's what we're getting to now. Which dog is the best at smelling and finding? So it has to have both combinations. So where are we at on our list?
After this Saint Bernard, it's still not your favorite, but it's a German Shepherd.
Well, that makes me feel a little better. And I honestly figured the German Shepherd would be closer to the top. I'm really
it's
surprised.
used for
Yeah, so they use it. But once again, people find the dog that's best fit for the job.
Yeah.
Like military, police work. The Shepherd and now the Belgian Malinois no matter how many olfactory senses they have, they're the best dog for the job.
and they're intimidating. You have a cop has the one in the car with them, and they pulled out like a Saint Bernard or a Basset Hound or something.
Pull out of that.
Who's making
Stop or I'll send my dog. If you don't trip over his ears. But I think that's something that us as humans have done. Just it's not the look of the dog; it's not what perspective we put on them. If you see a little mini poodle get out of the car, you just want to pick it up and hug it.
Yeah.
You see a Belgian Malinois jump out, you're like, "Is he going to bite me or can I pet him?"
Ooh, we should.
You don't know. But anyways, German Shepherds, I could believe that. They would be, out of the list that you give me, they would be up towards the top of the list of a dog that I would use, like the best for the job. If I was going to go purchase a dog for this to find morels, German Shepherd would not be at the top, but they would be close.
So I assume what's on top is the lab retriever.
Yes, Labrador Retrievers. And I'm going to give my reason why. All right, because first of all, I think they enjoy working together with humans. I think it's something that comes naturally for them, something that they get pleasure from doing. They have a good sense of smell. They can track. They know how to use their nose. You know, and there's 7 on the list of dogs. You know, 7, and I don't know. We'd have to research the difference between 1 to 7, how much difference there actually is.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't say that. But just because the lab's so versatile, you know, I've always said I take my labs, I raise labs here. I take them and I teach them to find morels. I teach them to track wounded game. I teach them to do sheds. I know they can do all 3. And I have one dog we're going to try this year on being a gun dog. So like retrieving ducks or even doves. Probably not so much upland game like pheasants, but maybe that's down the road to add it all. One dog do it all. And if any dog could do that, any dog breed could do that, it would be Labradors, in my opinion. So that's the reason why I pick labs. It's not because they're the best morel dogs. It's because I feel they're the best dogs to do it all.
Yeah.
To do everything. And I don't know of another breed. You know, I know, you know, people are like, well, my dog, you know, my bulldog would find morels all day 100 yards away. Well, sometimes you get these good dogs.
Yeah.
It's like rare, but it happens. In general, Labradors, to have a very versatile dog, is the dog to go with. Who's next on the list for, so we got, what'd you say? Bloodhounds, Bassets, Beagles, St. Bernards, German Shepherds, Labradors, any other ones? Or is that where the list stopped?
That's kind of just where the list stops.
That's a cheap list.
It's really bad, but I just now know what a bloodhound looks like.
All right, well, we was going over them, what dogs had the best nose. I come across something here that says the Bloodhound leads the way with approximately 300 million scent receptors. Other sporting breeds, such as Labrador Retrievers and German Shepherds, follow closely behind. So this one here is kind of goes with what you said, but they left out the Beagle and the St. Bernard. But I'm not saying they're not there. Because I know, you know, dogs can smell. And I think when you get into the sniffing working world, if you start doing research, you know, I know I like labs, but if you really look, labs are the most time, they're usually the dog that's used. You know, the dog's nose is so powerful it can detect diseases. They have proven that a dog can smell cancer, can predict seizures, and tell when you have low blood sugar. Now, if they can tell that, you know, sniff that, just sniff the body and tell you whether you have cancer or not, in my opinion, that is, the nose is just amazing. You know, we've said it before, dog's nose is just, in my opinion, more than we can even fathom, better than we could ever fathom. I would love to just take one day where I could smell like they do.
No,
You know? Maybe not.
not
I don't
looking
know.
at a kennel, but
Not out in the real world.
yeah.
So it just shows that, you know, they can smell things that we couldn't even dream of smelling. So getting them to smell something that we can smell, you know, I've heard people say they get down one from a patch of morels a little ways, they can smell them. They know they're in the area. My nose isn't that good, I can't do that. But I'm not saying they can't, I'm just saying I never have. But if we can smell them, then a dog should be able to smell them very easily.
Yeah.
So smelling them should not be an issue. Like I've always said, it's not about whether a dog can smell them or find them. It's about us being able to train the dog to do it. I did read where a dog associates its human scent with it's basically a rewarding scent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so there's a study out there that says that when your dog smells you, it associates you with good things. So they kind of makes sense in the training world because we do a lot of classical conditioning, pairing two things up.
Right.
So, you know, if your dog smelled you when good things came, your dog smelled you. It makes sense that would be it. And I don't know if that's really because of the sense to do with the smelling that they do, or just what happens when they smell you.
Mm-hmm.
My guess would be, if we really looked into it, it'd be more just about the classical conditioning. But even going back into the health side of it, you know, a dog can smell when you're stressed out. They could probably even smell when you're when any type of mood changes. I believe you put off different odors and a dog can smell it. That's the reason why sometimes you'll be like, oh, my dog senses this behavior or whatever. I don't believe they sense anything.
Mm-hmm.
I believe they smell everything and they know exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, so in the past, you know, they've smelt that nervousness on you, and then they see that reaction, that nervousness out of you. And once again, classical conditions, they pair the two together. So now that smell means being nervous, however that might look, and that in turn could reflect onto the dog. That's right why I'm telling people when they're training their dog, just stay confident, stay calm, try not to give any emotions. Just, you know, you can be happy and excited, but don't get nervous. You know, we get them aggressive dogs and people start getting nervous. I'm like, just calm down.
That's how I was with Zoe and Roxy.
Zoe and Roxy, yeah. Yeah, they could probably smell it. Yeah. I know they could. But yeah, I guess the whole point of this podcast is just talking about how well the nose is, and then taking out all their noses. And because what I come to the pushback is, again, is, can a dog really do that?
Right.
You know, can they really find brown mushrooms? And I guess for me, is why couldn't they? Mm-hmm. Their sense of smell is amazing. We pointed it out through several different things on here. And how, you know, they can smell things, have been known to smell things up to 1.6 miles away. Just how well they can smell cancer. So smelling a morel, and you know, they find, they do search and rescue, so they find people. I train dogs to find sheds, you know, and I use the scent that's still noseworthy. Shed hunting is still noseworthy.
Yeah.
I teach the dog to hit on the odor of that antler, and they do and can very well. And it's a bone out there, but they can hit on it. It has a certain smell to that dog, even though we can't smell it. It has a certain smell. So to do morels, it's like, why can't you?
Yeah.
I think what I've seen a lot of the pushback isn't, especially from professionals, is always, what about the poisonous mushrooms? Mm-hmm. They're going to eat them. I'm going to take my dog and take it morel hunting, and they're going to die. I don't see that.
Right.
It's never happened to me in all the times I've been doing this. But as far as your dog smelling that, the question isn't, can your dog smell that? Is, do you have the ability to train your dog to actively go look and find morel mushrooms?
Yeah.
That's the key. Is it like, can that dog really do it? Can you train your dog to do it? Because they can do it if you show them what they have to do. So, I don't know. You got anything else? You've been kind of quiet over there.
I know. I was just kind of. Someone likes to blabber a lot, so I was letting you go.
Letting you go. Appreciate that.
But like as you do, like you train dogs to find morels.
Mm-hmm.
How would someone, like, I don't know if you know, but how would someone go about training a dog to smell cancer? Or like sense it to know?
Well, I don't know. That's not something I'm real familiar with, but in my mind, I do scent work all the same, so I would, I don't know, like the medical side of it, where that cancer is in the blood, you know, or would you need to pull a piece of tissue out that has cancer on it? I don't know how easy it would be to extract something that had the cancer on it, that had odor.
Right.
If it's just maybe it's just the blood. I don't know. But if it's just the blood, I would extract blood from a cancer patient, put it in something, and then just teach the dog to love that smell. You know, they hit that smell, and they indicate on it, and they get their reward. And in reality, if you've watched any of my videos on YouTube, TikTok, wherever, I would train it the same way. I would use a box. I would teach them to, you know, love that smell. I would teach them that that's the only smell that pays.
Right.
And I would do a bunch of that. And then I would take them and we would start doing real life scenarios where we would, you know, find someone with cancer and 3 people or a few people without. And they would have to be people that have been tested and thoroughly tested that they don't have cancer. So it would be a lot of medical operations that went on before. And I don't know, this is just how I think it would work. And then you would just let them take the dog in and see if it indicates on the cancer patients. And the thing about cancer dogs is it's a less invasive way. In my opinion, it's an early detection without having to spend a bunch of money.
Right.
I don't know, because we're talking about Morel dogs. We're kind of off subject, but I'm very passionate about this too, because I think it's a thing that could be a big thing. I'm not sure why it's not. But if you could put a dog in every hospital and sniff everybody that wanted to be, you know, it had to be on their will, wouldn't want to do it, people didn't. And then if he hits on a person, then they just go get tested. And if they don't have it, the dog was wrong.
Yeah.
Right? And if they do, hopefully they caught it early enough where then they can do something about it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I'm just confused of why this isn't a thing. I know there's some pushback on the medical field because the dog's not accurate or this or that. But if the dog, which I think they'd be better than this, but if the dog was 50% accurate, and I guess the thing is if he sniffs you and indicates on you, then you're going to get stressed out because you think you have cancer.
Right.
It's going to be kind of a fear thing. But I think that should be your choice.
Yeah.
I don't think other people should make that choice for you. They should give you the option to do it. If you do it, fine. If not, fine too.
I think the amount of money too. I got that you'd be saving.
Oh yeah, no. And
Especially
then we could get into that conspiracy theory. That's the reason they don't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I hope not, but you never know. Anyways, if a dog can smell cancer and indicate on it, a dog can find Morel mushrooms. We just have to figure out the best way to train them to do that. And I feel I have done that. I have put an online course on a step-by-step program about how I train my dogs. Goes over everything in detail about how we get from not knowing what a Morel mushroom is to loving the scent to going out actively searching and finding Morels. But I think that's going to end for today. I got other things I got to do. I just can't sit around and bullshit with you all day.
Great.
So we're going to end this here. Remember to subscribe, leave a review, and share the podcast with fellow mushroomers. We love to hear feedback, so give us some comments. Let us know what you think. Let me know if I should find a different co-host from Carter. You're kind of quiet on this one, not much help. But let me know. We'll make the changes we need, and we will see you next week.
Peace out, dogs.